Welcome to Pi Mysteries Command Center. I'm Adam, and this is Rich. Today we're going over with the equipment review to let you know what we have in stock here, different ways we try to go about different paranormal settings and how they differ, and basically how to use each of these in case you want to come in just starting out to either ghost hunt or just kind of curious at how it goes. All right. A lot of this I'm going to try to do in chronological order. That's not going to be completely accurate because that's how things are sometimes. But dowsing rods. Uh, Typically, when you find these, they detect certain magnetic fields or energy fields. The trick is you want to hold your hand straight. And then if the dowsing rods come together or go apart, that's when you think you have something. I tend not to like following these when other people use them because if you just move your hands slightly off to the side, which can be hard to detect on camera, they can go in or out. Uh, Next, we have holy water, probably the most ancient of artifacts we have. This would be more for possessions or demonic entities, which we, by policy, don't try to troubleshoot because of the risk involved with that.
Audio recorders. So audio recorders back in the day, we don't have one anymore. We used to have one. Audio recorders with cassette, and then it went to later on digital, and digital became the new fad for audio recorders. Now these are even obsolete, and as you can see, we do a lot of our recording from our phones, and we use lapel mics. So that's what these look like here. So boom mics go onto the cameras, and then they plug in, and then they also do audio too. From a long time now, a lot of paranormal has been contributed to thermometers and thermostats and temperature. So back in the day, they used to take old-timey thermostats. Nowadays, they've gotten more digital with digital thermostat. We're actually going to try to get us a barometer for barometric pressure and stuff like that to add to our collection. Also, they went to use EMF. EMF will pick up on any electromagnetic field. So these devices, which is depicted here, they pick up any electromagnetic force. The batteries are not in these ones right now. We do not store our equipment with batteries. Corrosion is a thing, and you will lose a lot of equipment if you just simply store your batteries in your equipment. So I encourage everybody to remove your batteries from your equipment. As you can see, these two are almost the same. However, this one has like a better on and off and frequency switch on it. And this one is a pointable one, so you can actually point this in a directional. As you can see on the front here, it's got a directional pointer to actually point and actually see where, if you want to point it at, what sensor you're getting, electromagnetic sense you're getting. So and then more modern age, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the digital and modern age version of it, internal battery, lithium. So this will tell you units. It'll tell you also temperature. So this is more the modern design of all of these. So
Next on the menu here is our motion detectors. This is a really old style motion detector, but more accurate. More nowadays, we use the laser grid, which will put up a series of dots so we can see things through. Related is the touch light, but this is fallen out of fashion because the light does go on and off by itself just based on the heat of the batteries. So what's a system I would recommend using. We have spirit boxes. This is the old style. And something you may see sometimes is I'll put a lapel mic on the antenna, and then with the mic connected to the phones, we have the live transcript. So if we don't hear something in the field, maybe we'll catch it in the transcription. And then here's the more modern version of the spirit box, digital, which allows us to even record on a disc we're hearing. And then typically when we do this, we do it on AM instead of FM, but they have an option for both.
These are what are called manipulable devices. Okay, this little light right here, it activates under pressure. So you can see there's 3 settings to it, and it will either blink, tap. This actually takes a lot of pressure to push it down and actually get it to activate. But if it activates, so you know if it activates, something actually had energy enough to push it. Okay. But this one they can manipulate. If they've got enough energy, they can manipulate this into turning this on or off. These are what is known as, this is like a toy for cats, but a lot of paranormal groups use these. They're called cat balls. After it's done lighting up there for a minute, if you leave it alone for a little bit, it'll stop, and then anytime you touch it after that, it will activate again. And if you leave it sitting still, and like see right now, it's sitting still and there's nothing touching it, but I barely moved my arm and you see it went off. So these are highly sensitive. I wouldn't put these in an area where the floor is unlevel or you got wind or vibration, because you're going to get a false negative on that. So I would definitely put it in an area where it actually needs some force, like right here. It needs some force for me to push this. So, you know, I would put it somewhere like that. This is a door alarm. This you would put underneath a swinging door. A lot of houses have doors that are off level. You got wind. You got things going on inside a home that can cause like a false negative. So in order to get a positive, this has a pressure plate on it. You'll push it straight up to the door, and if the door has enough pressure to push this switch down, meaning something's actually pulling it, then it'll sound this alarm, and it's really loud. It's almost as loud as this REMPOD, and you'll know. So anywhere you're doing your investigation, if you're anywhere in the house, you're going to hear this thing. So if you want to rule out like a door that's swinging, you know, maybe you want to say, oh, it might just be a little breeze. Let me tell you something, guys. A little breeze is not going to push this thing down. Okay, so it's going to have some force. So that'll rule out if it's an unlevel door or, you know, a breeze. So a lot of people online are buying these $80 oh my god REMPODs. And I mean, they're nice because they got temperature and they've got all kinds of stuff on them. However, if you're just getting into the field and you ain't got the money, this thing right here, we simply sat down and we made what?
3.
We made 3 of them. One of them we kind of messed up. However, we made 3 of these in a matter of what? 15 minutes?
Yep.
Easily 15 minutes. It's literally, you take it apart, you cut the wire off that's usually attached to these. These are just simply door alarms that you would see in a hotel room. Like if somebody's buying it, put on their hotel door to make sure nobody touched their doorknob. And then we converted it and soldered the antenna on.
Camera-wise, we do several different ones here. We've got the normal just video camera that we do. We also have trail cameras, which would be very useful for like hunting Bigfoot or dog man, especially in that area. For larger places, we also have DVR system, but has night vision on it as well. Comes in very handy. And then just a straight up night vision camera as well. And we have thermal cameras. This is an older one that we have. Here's a bit of a newer thermal camera that we did use on the trestle bridge, but we didn't collect any evidence with it. Wasn't the camera's fault. And then to keep in touch, we have radios. But when we go smaller teams, though, we just tend to shout at each other. And then on the back end here, too, we also use Audacity for our audio editing and hunting for EVPs. It's really easy to see the wave sign in that. And then for video editing, I currently use Caden Live, but there are other ones available. You can always do the paid ones like Adobe Pro Premiere or what have you, or if you go more the free route, OpenShot, DaVinci Resolve.
One thing about the trail cams is these are actually cell phone. They ran by a cell phone, so they have a cell service. I have to pay monthly on one of these. I've got a year account on. It's up to so many photos, and then the other one I have a monthly account on. It's $10 a month. It gives you over 1,000 photos and a certain amount of video. If you're not using these like regularly, I honestly would say go with a lower plan, or go with something that you can turn on and off. You can't turn this account on and off whenever. These images will actually upload straight to my cell phone, and I can actually switch it from my cell phone to record. So they're kind of neat. They're kind of high-end technology. And then you're going to see in a later part of this video, we're going to go over batteries and battery maintenance. And there's a specific device I've made for these, and it works great. I think we had it running for 3 weeks to test it. 3 weeks on one battery, and it was still reading 100%. So, and I'll show you what I did on that. So, and that's all I got. One thing we want to cover and we want to explain is battery maintenance. Battery maintenance is very important. You don't want to store your batteries in a cold, really frozen environment. That goes without saying. I mean, if you got common sense and you understand how things work, cold equals bad when it comes to batteries. Lithium batteries, doesn't matter. Any kind of batteries, it's going to ruin their life. It's going to ruin their store power. As you see here, we have a nice little case for our batteries, for our equipment that takes storable batteries. We also have a battery tester to see if the batteries have proper power, if they're working properly. I would like to get in a habit of checking the batteries before we put them in the equipment, so we know for sure they were charged before we put them in, so we can rule out any, oh my gosh, right? As you can see, there's more batteries stored in the back. These cases you can pick up at your local hardware, Harbor Freight. They're just really organized, and they're really good to have. Keep your stuff organized and protected. Alright, so a lot of you've seen a lot of our items nowadays takes either internal batteries or internal batteries or lithium batteries. So some of these for the cameras, for example, have these lithium batteries. Let me get this over here so you can see it. So you see the charger base for that. Takes a standard 5 amp charger, and it takes a little while for them to charge. So as you can see, I've got two of these right here, and they got two bases. Both the bases can handle, each base can handle 2 batteries, so we can charge up to 4 batteries at a time. Also, we can also plug the camera in with a battery in it if we need to, if we get that bad. Now, in the field, we've ran into cases where batteries have died. Well, if you hiked out into the woods and you're a little out there and you are away from being able to charge something, this is your pal. This is a solar bank charger. It can charge up to at least 4 cell phones to full. And it also can power up any batteries we got pretty much for the cameras and stuff. And the best thing about it, runs off sun. So I can also plug this in to charge it up to get it fully charged. Or I can just leave it out in the sun all day. You can see right there, even from the light in the camper, you see this little LED light right here. This LED light's reading green. That's saying, hey, I'm getting charged. So even off the lights in the camera, it's gaining some kind of power. So, and then it has a flashlight function. You hold down the button long enough, you get a neat little flashlight. So, win-win, right? You're out in the dark, you need a little flashlight, you got one. This next item, in which I told you I'd talk about later, this was built strictly for our trail cameras and for our DVR cameras. So if we're in a remote area and we don't have access to power, we can run our we have a battery bank system that can run our DVR system. However, running these cords all the way out to these cameras is ridiculous. So we found online a video to find out how to make these. There's a little port in the front here, as you can see, on there. That has a dual function. I can plug a 5 amp cord into that and into the camera system, or I can plug a 5 amp volt charger to be able to charge the battery back up. So it's a dual. This port will work both ways. It'll work to charge the battery and it'll work to put the power out. And as you can see inside, that is just a standard little lithium battery, about 20 bucks. Okay, and I wired and got everything set up. The cable that goes to the camera is tucked in here neatly. And these systems are ready to go. So we go out to the field. We literally can just pull these out, plop them down. They're waterproof. And we've had this one out in the field for 3 weeks attached to our trail camera, and it still didn't go dead. So that states a lot about the quality and the length of the battery on these handmade items. And you guys can make these. It takes very limited mechanical or electronical know-how. I mean, it's pretty basic. So you guys can figure this out. There is videos on this. We'll try to see if we can find a link to it to show you how to make these. Very inexpensive as compared to doing and going out and buying something like this for the field. So it's very inexpensive to do it yourself. So a lot of our stuff is DIY. And that's purposely because we believe in saving money. I mean, this is not a field where you're going to make a lot of money. It's kind of a hobby. So you're going to try to save whatever you can when you can. And a lot of us in this group have a lot of electrical, technological, and mechanical know-how. So why not put our skills to use, right? So.
All right, just about done. So we got the camera, obviously, we already talked about cameras, but we also have different lights for the cameras that we can put on here. Several styles of gimbal, depending on the situation. A lot of times we use the tripod, but sometimes you need a handheld to get to places, especially when you're first getting in there. Nobody's really a fan of the guy that walks in there, sets up the tripod, walks back out, and walks in there going, this is the first time I've been here. I'd rather just use a handheld and get their initial reaction. Little lights. It's got multicolors, and it's got infrared on it. We also have the infrared, and then GoPros that we could strap on ourselves. Everybody's kind of seen that kind of thing before, but these are waterproof cases that we can do in certain kind of environments, especially if it's raining hard. Last thing I want to bring up here is the USB spirit box we can plug into a laptop and make the laptop a spirit box, but we tend not to do that because then that means you have to lug the laptop around. We usually keep that safe and dry in the truck or somewhere else. Another new thing that's kind of hit the market too are these little work lights. This one's by Duracell, but I've seen a couple different styles. They have magnets, they have clips, you can clip them on thing, and they come in really handy for locations we need light.
Last, but certainly not least, is our capability, especially when we're doing missing persons or cryptid kind of looks and stuff, and just getting an overhead view of what we're working at, is drones. These have come on the market and they've been hotcakes. A lot of people get them and don't understand them. Our real drone expert is kind of guy. He's been doing it a lot longer than me, and he's been doing it since pretty much they came out. Of course, any little toy guys got it. Trust me. This one right here is just a standard. I want to say I paid like $50 for this one. This is a little sport one. The camera on this one's not so great. The gimbal, it kind of, as you pan, as you move, the camera's following where you move it. It can go up and down. It does have a tilt factor on the camera. However, this is one that if we were flying it in a small area, it'd be great for a small area. And if I lose this one, I'm not worried about it. It's $50. I've gotten my work out of it. It uses a standard remote. You can mount your phone to it, and it does work off a program that allows you to see where you're flying and to fly it VR. It does do barrel rolls. It's kind of fun. It's got like a little sport effect to it. But like I said, this one is just standard, just a small one. This is the one I pretty much learned on. And I encourage you to do that. Get a small one to learn on. You do not want to make a big mistake with an expensive drone. This is probably like your mid-range. This is called the B-Wine 7B30 or 7B. This one right here is about a $500 drone. It does have GPS on it. It can go up to, I think it's 15 to 1600 feet. It does have a rechargeable port on the remote. The remote, when it powers on, it automatically connects to the drone. The drone comes with 2 batteries. Each one has a 25 minute lifespan on it. Now, I'm going to say the 25-minute lifespan depends on how much wind you got. The wind has a good... Let me shut this up. Anyway, the wind has a good factor on figuring out if you can fly for a while or not. Because if it's battling wind and trying to keep its stabilization, it's going to be burning a lot more power than if it was just sitting there hovering. The B-Wine is a good drone. However, I'm going to say that if you don't know how to fly that great, don't get it. It does not have obstacle avoidance. So wide open areas, it's great for. You getting into really wooded areas, swampy areas. If you don't know how to fly these and you're not aware of what you're doing, you can make a mistake in a hot second. So I highly suggest that you start with like a DJI Mini with obstacle avoidance or something. I think they're like $299 now. You know, they don't have as great as camera as this gimbal is. This gimbal's a 4K camera. It's pretty dang good for a drone, and the stability of the camera is great. I mean, I could sit here and turn and tuck and dive and roll this thing, and that camera is staying straight on what you got it locked on, and that's honestly that's great. So when you take it out of the box, it's got a nice little lock for the blades on the top, which if any of you have owned drones before, that's kind of a nice feature because it keeps your blades from spinning around, especially when you're taking it in and out of the bag or in and out of a box. We actually have cases. So some of these cases are what we carry our equipment in. You spend a lot of money in equipment, guys. You definitely want to have some pretty good cases to make sure. Adam's going to bring over a case here to show you. These are almost military grade. So these have ports on the back, and they will allow for oxygen to go out, but not come in, or but not water to come in. So You can control these environmental. They got like a little environmental screw on there to allow oxygen in or out. We don't care about oxygen, so I usually close ours off. We don't need anything that's going to need oxygen to get to it. But they are waterproof. They are very durable. They're, you know, structurally sound. And like I said, if you spend any money on equipment, you want to protect them. Now, you've seen when I was talking how I folded these out. It's kind of fun. There's the front ones, they kind of fold around and up. That's kind of a neat feature. Because most drones, they all just fold out straight. The gimbal comes with a gimbal lock on it. If you can see that on the camera there. You take the gimbal lock off before you fly it, of course. And you guys can see that gimbal has a lot of movement. It's, you know, it's a 3-point, you know. So, as you're flying, this thing's moving to keep that camera as straight and stable on whatever you're pointing it at as possible. And the best part about this is 90% of drones, you have to replace them because you screwed up the camera or you got damage to the camera. The B-Wine, I can order a new camera. Keep the drone, order a new camera. So that's actually a cool feature. Also, I'm thinking that later on they're probably going to come up with different cameras to be able to mount to this system. That would be nice to see. Anybody from B-Wine hear me? There we go. Alright, and that just about covers drones. My brother has DJI ones. He's got a lot of money invested into them. A lot of our videos come from his drones. Especially if you ever see us out in a rural area, it's probably most likely going to be his drone because, like I said, this one's good for open fields. However, taking it in a wooded area, not as advisable. So you're going to see his drones with obstacle avoidance probably taking up that slack. So, and I think that's it. Any of these items that you guys want to know more about or order yourselves, please hit us in the comment section. We'll make sure that we make it available for you. We can actually hit you with where we got it and how much it cost, and where you can pick it up from. A lot of these purchases was from Amazon. However, some of them were special ordered from manufacturers too. So
Well, thank you for watching and happy hunting.
make sure you like and subscribe.